I still eat the floof a little, but I'm not sneezing and drippy and gross, so. Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Amanda and this is Birch and Lily, where I talk about every crafty thing that I've been up to over the past couple weeks. Today I have an episode for you full of lots of knitting, and I also did do some cross stitch the past couple weeks, so that's a little new. I feel like I haven't done any cross stitch the past couple episodes, so I have a little bit of something to show you that I'm excited about. Before we jump on in, there are a couple places you can find me on the internet, the main one being birchandlilyfiber.com. You can also find me on Instagram and Patreon. Everything will be linked down below in the description for you. Another announcement that I do have, 2 of the sweaters that I was test knitting over the past little while are releasing this week, which is crazy and exciting because I know there's a lot of you who have been definitely waiting to knit these patterns up, so I did want to give you release dates. I know I hadn't had those in previous episodes, so I'll show them to you really quick, and then I can give you the release date for them as well. One of the sweaters that is releasing this week is, I'm looking at my notes here, it's releasing August 31st. That is my Briar and Bramble sweater. So I have shown this obviously on previous episodes, so I won't get too far into it. Last episode was the one where I really talked about this. But this sweater is releasing August 31st from Caitlin Hunter. So if you're looking for that pattern, check her Instagram and Ravelry out on August 31st. And then the other pattern, which is probably one of my favorite knits of this year, is releasing September 2nd, so this coming Friday, which is the Allie's sweater. And I'm so excited for the weather to cool down so I'm able to wear this one. This sweater, I don't know how many episodes ago I talked about it, but releasing on September 2nd. So skip back maybe 2 or 3 episodes. Actually, I could check my show notes. Let's see. I finished it episode 113. So if you look for episode 113, you can see Allie's sweater completely finished and I talk about everything. But yeah, you can grab that pattern this week as well. So it's definitely a busy pattern release week. Did I say Allie's sweater is from S-Knits on Instagram, Sarah Opie. Like I said, they'll both be linked down below. Obviously, I won't be able to link the pattern itself because at the time of this going up, they're still not out. But I will link what I can to get you to both of those designers' Ravelries and Instagrams so that you can find the patterns when you want to. But I will stop with my rambling with all of that stuff. Let's jump into what I've been working on over the past couple weeks. I hope you can't hear that wind outside. I'm recording. It rained all morning, so I had to push back recording, and now it kind of looks like it's going to rain again. So hopefully that doesn't happen. But shall we talk first about what I'm wearing? Another finished object. Last episode, I think I had just connected the front and the back and I was working on the body on this project. This is the Miles tee. It's a pattern that will be coming soon from Ozetta. And I had so much fun knitting this. I knit the size 3. Now with my new recording space here, or my new attempt, let's see. How can I get this? Can I even show? Oh yeah, I can. Okay, cool. So this is the Miles tee. It has this really pretty scooped hem. And then the back, can you see that lace? Here, I'll move my hair like this. Look how gorgeous the back of this tee is. Maybe I'll take it off after and I can kind of show you closer what's going on with that, but just super cute, really simple. It's a really beautiful basic knit. But yeah, like I said, let me take it off. I'll put it back on after, but just so I can show you some of the stuff closer up on the camera, because that's really weird doing when it's on my body. I really hope you can't hear that wind. If you can, I'm sorry. But now is the time that I must record this, so I was wearing another tee under this. I don't know if you're curious how I wear my knits, but I usually put something underneath. Not so much because I'm worried about it being itchy, just because, I don't know, I don't want to sweat on it. I know wool is great for wicking sweat and you don't have to wash it super often, but I I'm gonna have a hard time keeping myself centered. But I just like wearing another tee underneath, which is convenient for when you want to take something off and show it. So this is the back side of the Miles tee. Like I was saying, it has this really pretty lace detail. That side, for some reason, blocked out better. Just super simple, super delicate. The neckline is a folded over neckline. I've actually never done a neckline folded over where you pick up and do it after the whole sweater is done. Usually if I've done a folded over neckline, it's like the first thing I do in a sweater. So this was a little bit of a learning curve for me. The first time I went around to pick up the stitches, I wasn't paying much attention, and I was picking up, I didn't have an even amount of stitches left on both needles when I ran out of stitches on one needle before I did on the other. I ran out of space on the other. I hope you understand what I'm saying. But like, so you have all the stitches and then you're connecting them to, like you fold it over the hem and you're connecting it to the inside of the garment. And I still had space left to pick up on the inside, but I had ran out of stitches. If that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. I don't know how else to describe it. Anyways, so I had to take it all back and restart and pay a lot of attention as to where I was picking up, but I think it makes for a really nice structured neckline. I don't know. There's something really nice and squishy and wonderful about it. And then it's just a 1x1 rib on the sleeves and the hem. Like I said, it has this really pretty, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to show it like this. Oh yeah, kind of. If I could hold it nicely. Let's see. Yeah, so the hem has a scooped detail to it. Like, you would have seen it better when the whole garment was on me. But anyways, just pretty. Very pretty. The whole thing is done with a tubular bind off, so both the cuff on the sleeves and the bottom hem, I'm really starting to love a tubular bind off. I'm doing another test knit because apparently I just love doing test knits now, that had a tubular cast on. That I can't say I love as much. I had a really hard time with that. I did get it done, and I will teach you guys a trick that I learned about it to make it easier, but I definitely prefer a tubular bind off to a tubular cast on. But yeah, so Miles tee, should I put it back on? I'm gonna put it back on. It's too cute. So as for yarn for my Miles tee, I can't help myself. This is one of my new colorways. It's going to be in the fall collection, which I still don't have a release day for. I'm basically done it, but I just need to photograph everything and get all of that like posted and released to Instagram and figure out a date and stuff. So hopefully I'll have a date for the release for the fall collection soon. But this colorway and another one I'm going to show you because like I said, I can't help myself, is from the new fall collection. I'm really proud of it. I hope you guys are going to love it just as much, but this has no name yet. So this will be coming soon-ish. And yeah, it is on my Birch sock base, which is an 80-20, 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon. This garment calls for a fingering weight, so any fingering weight would do nicely. I could see it looking really pretty with a singles as well. Granted, a singles wouldn't hold up and be as hard wearing as something with a little bit of nylon, or just even a 2 or 3 ply. My 80-20 base in the shop is a 2 ply, and that having plies to the yarn and that extra twist to it just gives it a little bit more of that hard wearing, where a single ply obviously is going to pill a little bit easier. But yeah, Miles tee is done. I'm really excited. It was such a fast knit. I kind of want to knit the, oh, what is it called? The Moonset pullover by Ozetta. I think it's Moonset. But it's another tee, or Moonset tee. It's another tee, but it has a really pretty like V neckline to it. I need to grease this chair. This chair is so squeaky. But that is something else that I think would be really nice to knit because this is so cozy for those days where you want to be a little warm but not too warm. So I'm off center again. This just, it feels so weird because I have to be like right up against this one door to look centered. I guess I could move the camera. Who knows if this setup is going to stick. I was just like, you know what, let's try something different because why not? And this is what we ended up with. So, my closet. Anyways, let's move into some works in progress. Like I said, I have some knitting. I do have one cross stitch project. I haven't been doing tons. I've been relatively monogamous. I've also had a couple knits that are secret test knits that I can't show. So doesn't go to say that this is all I've been working on. I finished 2 other projects. They're just smaller ones. One was a hat and one was a pair of socks, but I can't show them yet. So this is what I can show that I've been working on. So my first project is a test knit for Winter's Weather Knits. Yes, Winter's Weather Knits. And this is her upcoming Hemlock sweater pattern. This is the other sweater, like I said, that I am knitting out of my yarn because I can't help myself, because with the fall update, I'm coming out with Surrey. So I really wanted to try the Surrey out, and I knew that this pattern either called for like a really, really airy, fluffy Aran weight, or you could use worsted. So it's like, if I hold DK and Surrey, I'll get worsted, and I really want to try my Surrey. So this is another new colorway that has no name that will be in the fall collection. It goes with this one really well. It's a little bit more greeny though. It's showing up relatively well on camera. Anyways, so this is my Birch DK base, which is 100% superwash merino, and this is Birch Surrey, because I'm not creative and I'm just gonna put Birch in front of every base's name. But this is Birch Surrey, and what is it, 70? Oh shoot. I'll put it across the screen. I think it's a weird number, and so I can't remember. 73% baby Surrey alpaca, and whatever the other percentage is silk. I'll put it on the screen. Anyways, it's beautiful. I love it. It is definitely a challenge to learn to dye Surrey, mostly because it is not superwash. It is a non-superwash, so it behaves totally differently. It acts totally differently. I can felt it really easily. I didn't do that, shockingly. Knock on wood. But there, that gives you a closer look at this color on DK. Anyways, Surrey, new base coming to the shop with the fall collection. But what I'm knitting with this, what I'm testing, is the Hemlock sweater for Winter's Weather Knits. I am doing the size small. This is supposed to be a really, really oversized garment. It's supposed to have a lot of positive ease. Technically, I should be knitting a medium to get the... I've got this all tangled. I should technically be knitting a medium to get the ease that the pattern calls for. What is happening here? There we go. Yeah, so I technically should be knitting a medium, but I knew I didn't want that much ease. I think it called for like 11 to 15 inches of positive ease. Don't quote me on it, but I knew I didn't want it that big. So I went for the size small. And this is what I have so far. Now let me pull this so it's not so bunchied so you can see the texture. It's so pretty. Especially with the Surrey in there, it's just so soft. Now I have to say, this stitch, what is it called? Knit through the back loop backwards. It's a little weird to do because I knit continental. But I figured it out, and it's slow going. I definitely feel like I'm knitting slower than I would normally. But we're getting somewhere, and it looks really pretty. So that is this. I don't want to give too much away, of course, but I did want to show it off. And so this is that tubular cast on, like I was saying. Now the trick that I learned, I cast on all the stitches the way you would for a tubular cast on, but instead of joining it and instantly going to knit in the round, I knit back and forth once flat. So I cast it all on, I knit across in the correct way for the tubular, then I knit back so that I was about to be working on the right side again, and then I connected it and knit in the round. So I hope that makes sense. I did actually save the video that I used for it to my knitting tutorials playlist on my YouTube channel, so if you're confused but interested, it should be like the newest thing that I've linked in there down at the bottom of the list. So it does leave like a little bit more of a gap in the cast on edge that I'll have to fix after, but the fact that I didn't have to fiddle and find that I had twisted my stitches like 10,000 times because they're so easy to twist with the tubular cast on, that was so worth it to me. So that was that. These cute little stitch or needle point protector, stitch stopper, whatever you want to call them. These are from Perfectly Knotted. She's a Canadian maker, Canadian knitter, and she has these so reasonably priced, especially if you're buying from the States, because when you convert everything over, like I think a set is only $4 or $5, don't quote me on it, $4 or $5 maybe, and if you convert that over to US dollars, it's like $2.50. So very, very reasonably priced. But this is my Hemlock sweater. Like I said, don't want to give too much away because it's a test knit, but I definitely wanted to show you it because I think the Surrey is working up so beautifully. I love it, and it's so squishy and fun. So I'm really starting to become a fuzzy sweater lover. I wasn't always a huge Surrey mohair person. Now I think part of it though was because I've now discovered I'm allergic to mohair, and now that I've been using Surrey, I love it because I'm not allergic to it. I still eat the floof a little, but I'm not sneezing and drippy and gross. So love me some Surrey. Now, like I said, I was working on one cross-stitch project for a little bit yesterday. I was knitting, and I don't know, I just wasn't feeling very good. I had a migraine, and it wasn't the greatest day. And so I was knitting, and then I got bored of that. So I pulled out some cross-stitch and worked on that for a little while. Our neighbors were obviously, or I guess, feeling super party-y and playing their music very loud, and I could hear, like, the words inside the house. So I had headphones in, I've been watching House. I am not a huge medical show person, but something about House is funny, and I needed something new to watch, and for some reason that came to mind, and that's what I've been watching. So I was watching that with my headphones in, trying to drown out the neighbor's music, cross-stitching. So this is what I worked on. This is a project bag from Pretty Southern. The pattern is Adorn Your Heart by Plum Street Samplers. I'm stitching this up on, it's a club fabric from Color and Cotton, July 2020 Pearwood. It's a 40 count fabric, and this is where we are. So not tons. I think what I did yesterday was like that brown stem, the leaves around that, and then the blue stars. Not tons, but I don't know, my cross-stitch mojo just really still isn't back. I thought I would give it a try yesterday. I worked on it for a couple hours. It wasn't that I didn't have fun, but I don't know, I've just been liking knitting more lately. Here's the threads. So I am using all the called for. There's a mix of some overdyes and some DMCs. Nothing crazy. And I'm stitching this one thread over 2 linen threads. So, fun project. We'll see if I cross stitch again in the next couple weeks. Like I said, I've really been loving the test knits. I've been loving, well, first of all, getting the pattern before everyone else is fun. Working with my own yarn is fun, and having samples, like, now I'm going to have this sample for when the new collection releases, and another one, possibly partially done, fully done, who knows. But I've been enjoying working with my own yarn as well, and I don't know, the knitting has just been fun. So that's what I've been doing. I do have written down here, like I said earlier, I've been knitting on a couple test knits, the hats, the socks, but then there is one other project, which I'm grabbing awkwardly with my foot. I should have just bent over, but whatever. One other project that I cast on the past couple weeks. I already complained about the music from the neighbors, but the past couple weeks have just been a gong show. I got a flat on this past Thursday. Let's just say I've had a crummy week, and it called for a cast on, and I wanted to treat myself. So I cast something on. This bag here is from Woolberry Fiber Co. I love this tote bag. Super pretty. And what is in here is some Woolberry Fiber Co. yarn. I had purchased this yarn a while ago to work on this sweater, and I just hadn't cast it on yet. I have one here that's not wound or caked up yet. So this is Woolberry Fiber Co. in the colorway Poetry on their worsted base. So it's 100% superwash merino. It's a very pretty color. And I cast on the Hudson Valley Pullover. So it's working up very fast because it's worsted weight, and I've already split for the sleeves. It kind of looks small on the screen. I promise it's not. It's smushed up on really tiny needles. But yeah, Hudson Valley Pullover. This is where I am. It's just a really simple stockinette sweater, which I think is why it's, well, minus the fact that it's worsted, and it's on, what needles am I using? So I'm using US 9 5.5 millimeter needles. I think the pattern calls for US, I don't know what US, but 6.5 millimeter needles. I do know that. But I usually end up having to drop down a full millimeter. Anyways, I got gauge, basically. I was in a mood, so I kind of just knit and then like yoinked it apart a little bit and said, yeah, that's close enough to gauge. So we'll see. The neckline might be a little bit tight. If it ends up not fitting over my head, I will just, this sounds scary, but I'll weave my needle in through under where the ribbing is, cut the ribbing off, and just re-knit it on looser. But otherwise, everything else is fitting great, so. Can you tell? Like I said, I was in a total mood when I cast this on. I was not feeling good. I was not having a good day. I just wanted something new. And this was sitting near me on the couch. So this is what I cast on. What I'm using here, these are, you can get them many places now, I think. These ones are from the Knitting Barber. I've also got them from Twice Sheared Sheep. But these are little cords that you can like attach to the end of your needle and really, really quickly slip like sleeve stitches and stuff onto. Highly recommend. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll see I posted a reel using them a couple days ago. But they are amazing. They have changed my world with doing like putting sleeve stitches on hold and stuff like that. So anyways, sweater I have separated for the sleeves and I'm just knitting in the round for the body. I have lots to knit for the body. It's got a really, really elongated body. I'm sure I've popped a picture up, but I also have to show you this adorable Progress Keeper from Hello Lavender, an ice cream sandwich. This was from her collaboration with Explore Knits and Fibers. I think it was Ice Cream Social. So I have that on there. And yeah, I'm just knitting away. It's been a really nice evening knitting project because I don't have to pay attention to it in the slightest. Minus, I'm doing helical knitting with this. I think this is something I haven't talked about in a while. But how I alternate skeins if I'm doing stockinette, usually I can't do it in a pattern because my brain doesn't work with it. But I have two skeins going at once, and there's a certain way of slipping stitches to make it so you have like no seam running up the inside. It's totally invisible, basically. I'm trying to think of what the video is that I used to figure it out. Was it from Babble's Traveling Yarn? Possibly? The one that made sense with my brain. I know they were knitting with red and another color stripes in the round, and that's how I was able to figure out what they were doing with helical knitting. But now that I have learned it, anything stockinette like this where I want to alternate skeins, like, it's magical. That's the best way I can put it. It's magical. So nothing crazy with this, just some good old stockinette sweater knitting. The pattern is lovely. It's from Cuddle Bunny Knits. I think it's her only garment pattern, but it's really well written. I've had no issues with it so far, so loving knitting that as well. Anyways, I feel like I've been talking really fast. I feel like I talk fast every time. I also had to pause this video and restart it, so I don't really know how long I've been talking for, because as usual, my phone stopped auto-focusing for me, Anyways, that is all I have to show you for this episode. Definitely check out the 2 sweaters that are releasing this week. Keep an eye on my Instagram for when I start announcing the fall collection. I'll try and post something here on my community tab as well when I start releasing the fall collection. I don't want to bombard you too much, but I'll let you know when I start showing pictures for that. It's probably going to be in the next week or 2. But I'm really, really sorry. I'm very excited about that collection, mostly because a lot of it is tonals. I wanted it to be a collection that was really catered towards sweater knitting and stuff that I would want to knit garments with. So lots of pretty tonals like this where you've got some variegation going on, but it's not crazy like this one, for example, which is in the shop. Bee Hummingbird. Anyways, yeah, so keep an eye out for the fall collection. Trying to think what else I have going on. Not tons. I wish it was fall. Yeah, I'm so glad you joined me again for this episode. It means a lot to me. I hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions, ask me down below in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button so you don't miss out on any new content that I put up on this channel. Check out my website, Instagram, Patreon, all the things. And I will see you again in the next episode. Bye!